the balcony, late July, just waiting for your friends to leave. And finally, so can we in the back of the car, trying to stay awake. I can tell from the stars that we're out of LA. With your hand hanging out the window like you're riding on a wave. I'm no good at goodbyes, we're always running away. I've been looking for love in the distance, down the sidewalks, the cities I visit, up the coast looking for something different. All along you were there, but I missed it. I don't know what it is, but I feel good about that.
We are here today at ShoWare Center in Kent, where we are hosting our first LEGO League Western Washington State Championship and First Tech Challenge State Championship.
As score 17 completes the count, and now it's 2, 1, LEGO!
11389, 11389, go get! Robotic,
Washington State FTC champions are the Blue.
Welcome to the First Washington Virtual Showcase and Awards Ceremony. Please welcome your hosts, Brett Wertzman and Darren G.
Hello, First Washington friends, and welcome to our Change the World Virtual Showcase and Awards Ceremony. Wow, have hundreds of people join us today, and what a treat. We have students, alumni, coaches, mentors, volunteers, donors, sponsors, elected officials all tuning in right here because we believe that FIRST does this for kids.
Yeah, you know, Darren, in any other year, this would be the week that a bunch of our teams here in the Northwest would be in Houston getting ready and participating in the World Championship there. But due to everything that's happening right now with COVID-19, that championship event got canceled. Much of our season got postponed, at least for FRC, and our teams are, like the rest of us, at home, not sure what to do. But we wanted to make sure to take this opportunity and remind everybody what First Washington's mission is, to help inspire young people to be leaders in science and technology throughout the state and throughout the region. First Washington is helping engage them in mentor-based programs, building science, technology, engineering, and math skills with help from volunteers, teachers, and donors from all across the state. And we're going to hear some of the great stories that we've built there today.
All right, and then remember, this virtual showcase is our time to remind ourselves that changing the world starts right here in our state. We work together to sustain our current teams and continue to work with the school districts in bringing both STEM to the students in both the classes and after school.
Yeah, Darren. And FIRST is key in kickstarting those students' interests in STEM. And while we're all at home practicing social distancing and doing everything we can to get through this pandemic, our community is still together in spirit and still together socially. And we're really looking forward to sharing some of the incredible stories we've been hearing about the actions our teams have been taking part in during this difficult time.
Yes, and we all know that FIRST is not about the robots. It's about helping teach the students or kids in our community about problem solving, people helping out and working together to make this a better place. We always hear stories about teams from as young as, well, let's say early as elementary school, down in the kindergarten ages, all the way up through high school where we're helping their communities. But they're stories that we've heard over these last few weeks with the global health pandemic that's going on has been awesome and very impressive. These teams have manufactured masks and they've been getting together with outside the team, but in their social distancing to help their local hospitals and emergency responders by providing them input for their masks and also helping them with their foods things.
Yeah. So on that note, let's get this show started. We've got a great program scheduled today. We're going to hear from some incredible speakers, some team members, some alumni, some donors, some volunteers, a whole bunch of people telling you about what they've been up to. We're going to celebrate our top teams from the First Tech Challenge and First Lego League seasons who received state level awards and would have advanced to the World Championship in Houston had it not been canceled. And we're going to get to celebrate some of our first robotics competition teams. Even though those events got postponed, we're still going to be able to award our Dean's List semifinalists and finalists. We're going to be able to recognize Chairman's Award winners from each of the events that would have taken place. And we are still going to award the Woody Flowers Finalist Award from one of our top mentors here in the Pacific Northwest.
So please remember why we are here today. It's to help us financially here at First Washington with our work. And as you'll see on the screen as it pops up there, there's 3 ways that you could donate. One of those ways is visit our website. You can actually send a text or even visit the QR code. And then remember, as you set that donation, this is supporting over 15,000 students. So every penny counts. Again, thanks for your donation.
To tell you more about how your donations can help, we'd like to introduce the chair of the First Washington Board of Directors, Erica Beckstrom. Erica has been a volunteer across all 4 FIRST programs and has also been a passionate advocate and leader in FIRST since she got involved 4 years ago. She is a professional technology executive, and she is committed to helping bring FIRST programs to more students all across Washington State in her role as chair of the Board of Directors. Erica?
Hi, everyone. We're thrilled to have you join us for the first ever Change the World virtual showcase. On behalf of the Board of Directors and all of the volunteers across our state, that includes me, by the way, as a volunteer, we're here to thank the staff for all they do every single day. The workload is incredible, and the output that they give us and the support that we feel every day is unbelievable. Let me share with you what we've asked them to really do. They currently support 15,000 students, 1,200 teams, 5,500 coaches and mentors, and 25 classroom programs. That's a lot. And all I can say is thank you and wow. We so much appreciate what you do for us. And we're here to do just that. We're here to celebrate these staff members for everything that they do for FIRST programs, for the community, for the kids, not just for today, but for tomorrow as well. So I hope that you'll join me in supporting these programs and this incredible staff through your donation. And for the first time, we have a matching grant of $35,000. So what that means is for every donation of $250 or more, that will go towards that matching grant. We, of course, would love your donations of anything less than that. Anything that you could contribute would be great. So again, in support of the programs, thank you all for being here. It's so much appreciated. It's time to celebrate.
Thank you, Erica. And as she said, every donation given today really does matter. First Washington works to raise over $1 million every year to support our 1,200 teams. Individual donations as small as $10 will make a huge difference. And with so many of our teams operating year round, giving back to their communities, well, let's just hear from some of our teams Brett was able to introduce and how they are giving back.
All right, thank you. I'm so excited to be here with 6 team members from a few of our teams around Washington State to talk about their amazing outreach activities in their various communities. And I want to start with Kitty Nakagawa and Yusuf Hanafi from Team 2412, the Robototes in Bellevue. And Kitty, can you tell me a little bit about some of the activities you've been participating in your community?
Yeah, so essentially we're creating a sort of support group for the head mentors for starting rookie FLL teams within our Bellevue school district area in order to be able to sustain teams so that they can feed into our teams in the Bellevue Alliance within our school district. And so we're just helping them out, giving them guidelines of when things need to get done. And another major thing that we're going to be doing is distributing FLL tables. So Yusuf, do you want to talk more about that?
Yeah, so basically the FLL tables is just to make it more convenient for more FLL teams to be created. So it's just one more barrier that we just take out. So FLL teams have it it's much easier for FLL teams to create a team. And from that on, it'll make it a more fun experience. Therefore, the coaches and mentors have enough time to focus on teaching the kids rather than focusing on all these materials they have.
That's an amazing program, and it's great to see you all working to help build the robotics pipeline in your area. Brielle Chenier, also from Team 2412, you told me that you've been doing some other training activities that you've had to change a little bit this year. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so our team has always hosted SolidWorks trainings because that's how we CAD our robot. And usually they're in our shop, but now we've transitioned them to be all online. So every day from 3 to 4, Jeff Dean, one of our mentors, goes on and it's a live stream and then they're recorded so people can see them and teaches us about SolidWorks, and it's open to all 5 FRC teams in our area. So a lot of people end up watching these.
Fantastic, and it's really cool that we're able to adapt that in light of the current conditions in the pandemic. And along those lines, coming to Maggie Topol, you said that your team has been involved with some very pandemic-specific outreach activities as well.
Of course. Since there's so much going on in the world right now, we figured it would be a great time to try and make a difference in our community. So we've been working with 17 other FIRST teams, FRC, FTC, and FLL in a group created by Top Gun Robotics, Team 1294. And we are working together on the First for Food Lifeline program, which we are trying to gather money from people in our community, which will be donated to Food Lifeline, which helps people who are struggling with food in this situation. And our team has raised over $1,000 to help this program, and it's been great for everyone involved.
That's so impressive, Maggie, and it's really great to see so many different teams involved in that effort as well. I want to come next to Riley Weston from Team 2046 Bare Metal out of Maple Valley. And Riley, you were telling me about a program you've been running for a few years now with some summer camps in your area.
Yeah, so my team's been running a summer camp since 2012, which we do as a way to bring up elementary and middle school aged kids and teach them more about robotics, get them familiar with what it's like to take a challenge and actually go compete with it. They do 5 days where they build with Vex Robotics and then ultimately compete in a challenge that my team has designed ourselves. And it helps filter kids in through elementary, middle school to the high school where they can join ultimately our team or get involved in the CTE program.
Another great example, Riley, of just like with the Robototes, of working with the younger students in your area to try to get them involved. McCoy Storm from Team 6350, the Clawbots in Enumclaw. You were also telling me about another activity with your younger students. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, so every year, for quite a few years now, we've done a STEM Expo where we have the public come in and we can interact with them, and we'll have younger kids drive the robots and we'll tell them what we're doing and trying to get them interested in the STEM fields. So that's something we've been doing for quite a few years, and it's all about getting kids interested in STEM and showing them what we're up to.
Very cool. And McCoy, you also said that you've been taking on some extra work with your team and a few others in light of the pandemic. Can you tell us about your work with the personal protective equipment?
Yeah, so not only our team, but a couple other teams in our local area, our local hospital started running out of PPE devices. So we called everyone who had 3D printers and we asked, could you 3D print these PPE devices for these hospitals? And so this team has been 3D printing headbands for face shields, and we're providing them to the local hospitals so they can have personal protective equipment.
Really cool and really amazing work from all of you. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for doing all the great things you're doing, and keep it up. We can't wait to see what comes next for all of you.
These students and their teams are just a few examples of some of the amazing work that our 1,200 teams are doing in Washington and actually all across the Pacific Northwest. So much of FIRST is celebrating teamwork, but FIRST does have a prestigious award to recognize individual students for their exceptional leadership and contributions to their teams.
First Dean's List finalists are outstanding, passionate student leaders who demonstrate exemplary effectiveness at attaining FIRST ideals. These students were nominated by their teams for their direct contributions and impact on others, exemplifying leadership and commitment on their team and in their communities. These First Dean's List finalists recognized today are also our nominees for the First Dean's List Award, the winners of which will be announced at the first virtual showcase on May 2nd. And now we're very proud to present our Dean's List finalists.
Matthew Vandenberg, Team 360, The Revolution, Government Preparatory School, Tacoma, Washington. Tiffany Toe, Team 1540, The Flaming Chickens, Catlin Gable School, Portland, Oregon. Jacob Zhao, Team 5468, Chaos Theory, Summit High School, Bend, Oregon. Mackenzie Guy, Team 5588, Rain Robotics, Holy Names Academy, Seattle, Washington. Lewis Wren, Team 6427, The Right Angles, Charles Wright Academy, Tacoma, Washington. Moisha Kessman, Team 11138, Robo Eclipse, Bellevue, Washington. Emmeline McKinnon, Team 17103, Falcon Gold, Richland, Washington. Diana Wang, Team 12611, Tech Nova, Bellevue, Washington.
Congratulations to all of our Dean's List finalists. Those are some incredible students that we're very proud of, and they are certainly well on their way to some very bright futures. Those students, just like all of our FIRST students, are eligible for over $80 million in scholarships that are open to students who participate in our programs. And we recently found out that one of our students here in the Pacific Northwest was awarded one of those scholarships this past year. Joanna Pang is a third-year member of Cedar Park Robotics, FRC Team 3663 from Bothell, Washington. And she just found out that she is a recipient of the Bart Kamen Memorial Scholarship. Joanna was awarded this for her outstanding efforts on her team in a variety of roles, and she is highly regarded amongst the FIRST community for her energy, her passion, and her constant positive attitude. Joanna is looking forward to putting those funds to good use, continuing her studies on her path to become a physician, and she's very excited to take both her medical understanding and the skills she's developed in robotics and put them together in her future work. So please join all of us at First Washington in celebrating and congratulating Joanna Pang.
Hey there, and so you might know this or may not, but I'm one of the mentors on Team 3574, the High Techers. As a proud mentor, I'm excited to introduce this particular person. His name now is Dr. Darir Abdullahi. So let's just take it away, Darir.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the introduction, Darren. So just to say, Darren and his wife, Diana, have been just during my high school time, two of the most important mentors, and because of their kindness, their charisma, and their enthusiasm for student learning and education, I felt like that is just a few of the things I can say of the things that you've instilled in me and many of the other students that you've worked with. And so thank you for that. So I would say, well, I started in robotics during my beginning of my senior year, and it was one of my physics teacher. Her name was Kimberly Schultz, who kind of introduced me to it. And I will always thank her for that. She said, you know, you like math and you like thinking and you like technology and you like, you know, creativity. Why don't you consider robotics? And I considered robotics. And I never knew that that was going to be a family I was going to be with for the rest of my life. And it became a milestone for me. And it was an amazing group of people and students from a wide range of backgrounds, similar to my own. You know, wide range of, you know, faith, gender, class, race. And, you know, we all came together to help each other out and to make sure that we were successful in that, to make sure that we were able to do what we set forward to do. Meaning if we were determined to do something, we did it. And I will never forget that. And so that was like first robotics for me in my first year. And since then, you know, I served as the business liaison and the business manager of my team, awesome high techers. And I will never forget the amount of devotion and time each of us gave. And it made me think to myself, I have to devote the same as everybody else because everybody else is so committed. And, you know, it taught me how to be disciplined, how to properly ask questions that are targeted to audiences that you want to answer. It taught me how to be organized. I think that was one of the most critical things that I took away from the High Techers team is how to be proficient and organized when setting up any type of survey that I needed to be completed. And I always bothered my team members to complete those surveys on time. You know, it taught me timeliness. It taught me time management and organization and also being in a team. You know, that's the most important thing is, you know, being in a team. And since the High Techers team, I went to University of Washington and I got my bachelor's in neuroscience and global health. And I stayed at the University of Washington where I got my MD degree. And sorry, I shouldn't say I got it. I'm going to get it officially June 12th. So almost. And that's when I'm going to get my MD degree. And throughout this entire phase, I cannot say how important it has been to have such a team, and I'm still connected to a lot of the folks that I've been with.
That is so awesome to hear that how you basically transitioned from where you were coming from a Title I school where they have free and reduced lunch at 65%, moving your way up through the process, through the education, and making the decision that you wanted to become a doctor and taking the tools you learned. So in a couple of words, and keep it if you can, what would you say to those students in high school today about how STEM has helped you in your career?
That's a great question. I would say, you know, some of them, you know, the critical things is creative thinking. And, you know, when you have mentors such as yourself, you know, and everybody else who was there who fostered that creative thinking, it's easier to be a student who's proactive. It's harder to do that when you don't have mentors and a supportive network who's around to kind of guide you. Because a lot of us before FIRST and before robotics, you know, we didn't have mentors and groups who fostered that creative thinking. So I would say to the young high schoolers, you know, even though it seems like it's a long time ago, it wasn't that far ago. I would say, you know, stick to what you feel like challenges you. When you're challenged, you know you're doing something right. You know, if you're not being challenged, whether it's critical thinking or analytical skills or communication skills or organizational skills, when you're not being challenged, you're not in the right place. So I would say, don't give up when you are challenged. You know, you are taking these difficult courses, but you will do great when you pursue challenge.
Great. Thanks, Jarir, and thank you for your time and your busy schedule and coming and visiting us today and giving us some great insight for the future of the students that are to come.
Of course. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here. It's an honor. Thank you.
So, one of First Washington's most amazing partners is joining us today, and that is Amazon. Amazon has partnered with First Washington over the years in helping us with an event space. Hundreds of Amazonian coaches, mentors, teams, and this past year, Amazon stepped up to help First Washington inspire students from Title I schools. Please join me in acknowledging this year's Change the World champion. That's right, it's Amazon through their Amazon Future Engineers helping First Washington to support 23 Title I elementary, middle, and high schools in the Seattle Public Schools. From Amazon, let's give a warm welcome to Tom Barry.
Thank you so much, everybody, and thank you, First Washington. On behalf of Amazon and our computer science program, Amazon Future Engineer, we're really excited to do what we did for 30 Title I schools in Seattle, and we know it's just the beginning. The light that we've seen on these kids' faces as they coded for the first time and they used robots for the first time was amazing, and we can't wait to do more in the future. Thanks so much again for this incredible honor.
Thank you, Tom, for everything you and all of your colleagues at Amazon are doing to support First Washington. And Amazon is just one of our many incredible corporate foundation and individual donors that are supporting First Washington in its mission of developing vital STEM skills in students all across our state. The funds these donors provide go towards initiatives such as startup grants for new FIRST teams in all 4 FIRST programs, and helping these teams acquire kits, components, and tools to build their robots and participate in their competitions. You know, so much of the work that First Washington does is really built on developing and maintaining strong relationships with the schools and districts within our state. The staff of First Washington works side by side with leaders in these districts, listening to them to figure out how best to bring STEM to all of their students and how to give their students the benefit of participation in the FIRST programs. It takes a lot of time and energy on both sides, involving meetings between First Washington staff and school district staff, their teachers, and other advocates to make sure everybody knows how they can best benefit. This is a very intimidating thing for a lot of teachers who may not have the experience that some of our volunteers and donors have, but a lot of the districts are really stepping up to help their students and make sure they have the skills necessary for the future. One school district that has particularly strongly partnered with First Washington recently is the Federal Way Public Schools, and they are working hard to bring FIRST to all of their programs and all of their schools. Earlier this week, Darren had a chance to talk to Dr. Tammy Campbell, the superintendent of the Federal Way Public Schools, to learn more about the partnership and the efforts going on in Federal Way.
All right, receiving her doctorate of education and superintendent certification from the Washington State University, go Cougs, in her 5th year as a superintendent in Federal Way Public Schools, this amazing champion is bringing FIRST into all her schools. So let's welcome the Federal Way School District's superintendent, Dr. Tammy Campbell.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I will say I'm really excited to have a conversation today with FIRST Robotics. The work that we're doing in Federal Way Public Schools is all built around our scholars. And one of the most fundamental pieces of what we want their education to be is around relevant experiences. And FIRST Robotics really is at the core of that. We're pretty focused also on making those experiences in the classroom application-based. So if they're learning about math, they're learning about communication, that if they're having the opportunity to do that real time in a way that is engaging, we believe they're much more likely to be set up for their dreams. Looking forward to the conversation.
All right, Dr. Campbell, I'd like to ask you a few questions. And one of the questions I'd like to know, Dr. Campbell, is superintendent of one of the state's largest and most diverse school districts. Could you tell us what your vision is for your students?
Well, the main vision is that when they leave our system, they're ready for every possible opportunity that comes their way. And I believe that happens when they can take the learning that they've gained in our system, the confidence that they've gained in our system, the communication that they've gained in our system, and then when they go to the world of college, work, or whatever it may be, they're ready. So that's really what this is about. And 5 years ago, we launched our first strategic plan that we had had in the district in 20 years. That was one of the things the board wanted me to do when I became superintendent, around these big, bold goals. And one of the big ones is around how do we engage our scholars and make sure that they're critical thinkers. And when I think about what First Robotic is about, that's right at the heart of what that is. And if we believe if we do that, they graduate. They graduate more than college ready. And the type of learning that First Robotics sort of is centered around, we believe is one of those core strategies district-wide that we want all of our scholars to have before they leave our system.
Oh, that's awesome. And so another question I have is, how did you and your team begin working with First Washington? And how has this partnership developed?
So I will say, I've often sort of watched and been curious about STEM and specifically robotics from afar, but I was going to one of our high schools who had what I would describe as a well-established program around robotics. And I watched the camaraderie. I also noticed girls working and alongside boys learning about, again, STEM. And I know what happens in these markets. We don't see a lot of girls and we don't see a lot of underrepresented students of color in these programs. And so as I watched what was going on at this one school, I thought, wait a minute, it's not happening at our other schools. And why is that? And so the vision I had right there, and it's not just with robotics. One of the things that I think is essential as a superintendent is that we do things systemically. So I think it can't just happen at one school. How can we make sure every scholar has access to it? And so I began to ask questions about what programs were out there. And every time I asked that question, First Robotics would come up. And so that was what was the catalyst for us bringing it into our school district system-wide.
Oh, that's cool. And then my last final question is, could you tell us where the school district is today with First, and what's your hope in continuing to build upon this partnership in the future?
So one of the things that I think about is, the first thing is, what is our vision? And our vision is this notion around project-based STEM learning for all. And we think about it, there are things that we do for all scholars, there are things we do for some, and then there are things that we do for a few. And so right now we've got some, what we call project-based sort of highlight schools where they're all project-based. And then we do things during our summer school and after school at elementary around our Sphero, which is all about coding and introducing robotics to our elementary scholars. And this year we're looking at adding robotics so that it wasn't just at 2 of our high schools, but that all 4 of our high schools had it. So again, we're touching every element of the school district. And we believe if we do that, scholars are going to leave Federal Way Public Schools really ready for the world of work, but also ready for college and ready for post-secondary, because they will have internalized learning in a way because of the application component of this that'll set them up for success.
Oh, thank you for the awesome, just the passion you have and where you're headed with this and how you've introduced STEM and actually taken it another step further within your district so the students come back, out into the world and being part of the world.
Yeah, I don't want a single student to leave our system without saying at some point they had 1 or 2 opportunities to engage in robotics, in STEM or project-based. And before we were set up, so some or a few would say that. Now it's all. How do we have experiences where if they choose to, they can do more, but that every scholar by elementary has had a touch with our Sphero after-school program, which is really what I call the preliminary robotics sort of preparatory experiences for them, so that by the time they leave Todd Beamer, TJ, Decatur, or Federal Way High School, that could be a culminating experience.
Well, awesome. Thank you again for your time and what you're doing for the students today.
Thank you. We appreciate your expertise, and we also appreciate the frameworks and the support of First Robotics.
Thank you, Darren, and thank you, Dr. Campbell, for everything you and your colleagues are doing to help bring FIRST to more students in Federal Way. Dr. Campbell is just one of many school and district officials who are working with First Washington to expand the program. And on a personal note, as a volunteer for the program, it's so great to see more and more schools getting directly involved in helping expand FIRST. And that work is primarily done by the staff of First Washington. You know, FIRST is very much a volunteer-driven organization, but it's the staff that handles a lot of the background and logistical and really important work so that we as volunteers can do the things that we really love to do and that we are really best suited to do, which is working with teams and working with students. And we really do need your help to keep funding these programs in Washington and through First Washington so that that organization can continue to support us as volunteers while we support these students through this amazing experience. Like we've asked before, any donation is appreciated. You can go to firstwa.org/donate. You can text via the instructions on your screen, or you can snap that QR code that you're seeing, and any amount helps. We really appreciate your support.
The Woody Flowers Finalist Award is presented to an outstanding mentor in the robotics competition who best leads, inspires, teaches, and empowers their team using excellent communication skills. Students from the team submit their essays of their Woody Flowers Award nominee. Here to introduce the Pacific Northwest Woody Flowers Finalist Award is Mr. Eric Stokely. Eric?
Hello. On behalf of all the previous winners, we'd like to acknowledge and celebrate everyone who has been nominated for the Woody Flowers Award. To all the nominees, please be aware what your students are telling you with this nomination. They are saying that you are their mentor, their guide, and the person most like Woody Flowers. I hope you understand the honor that they are giving you. Often our students evoke a lot of emotions from us. The one you should feel here is love. The mentor that ultimately won here in the Pacific Northwest captured their students' attention through communication, poise, empathy, and an unwavering confidence in the team's abilities. He often uses humor to instruct and enlighten the current problem, or puzzles, which he prefers the team to view them as. His manner reinforces cooperation as students work through problems both before and during the season. His ability to reach out to each student in whatever way is needed to get the message is well received and appreciated. It is my honor to announce the winner of the 2020 Pacific Northwest Woody Flowers Finalist Award, John Medlong, from Team 3574, the High Techers.
Among the many causes that Woody Flowers himself was committed to was encouraging more female students to be part of the STEM movement and part of FIRST in particular. He was specifically impressed by the Faces of Engineering initiative that was launched by one of our teams here in the state of Washington in Kettle Falls back in 2016 to help with that effort. And based on that initiative and other programs, we've been able to increase female participation in FIRST programs in Washington from 28% to 44% in just the last 5 years. To tell us a little more about that initiative and about being a female in the FIRST program, I got a chance to talk earlier this week with a FIRST alumna, Andy Schoonover, who's now studying at Eastern Washington University. I'm here with Andy Schoonover. She is an alumna of Team 4980, the Canine Crusaders out of Kettle Falls, Washington. And now she's studying at Eastern Washington University as a junior, studying visual communication design. Thanks for being with us, Andy.
Thanks for having me.
So I want to start out by asking you about the Faces of Engineering initiative. Can you tell us a little bit about the origins of that and what the goals were and the motivation for starting that program?
Yeah, so during my first year on the team, our head mentor, Naomi Edwards, had an idea to do a photo shoot showcasing the 6 girls on our team doing various STEM-related things to put up in the elementary and middle schools to show like that girls could do the stuff that we do in robotics too. We showed off these posters at competition, FRC Team 4125, Confidential from Umatilla, Oregon, asked us if we wanted to start a campaign, and Faces of Engineering was born.
That's, it's so awesome. And I know Darren mentioned that Woody Flowers himself saw this and was really excited by it. Can you tell us a little bit about, talk about the goals of the program? And you mentioned kind of the photo shoot being the impetus. What led to that photo shoot and then what ended up coming out of it?
Well, we originally just wanted to encourage elementary schoolers and middle schoolers to think about like being in robotics, because the issue is by the time that people got to high school, girls were already like, but that's for boys, and they hadn't even thought about it, so they weren't really wanting to do it. So we just wanted to encourage them, but it's kind of snowballed to the point where it's really, we want to show everyone that anyone can be an engineer. And I mean, we can see the impact directly on my team. From my freshman year to my senior year, we went from having 6 girls to having 15. So we were half in just 4 years.
Wow, that's just amazing. And that impact is definitely noticeable all over the Pacific Northwest. We've seen your photo booths and your signs at a bunch of our events over the last 5 years. And that's especially cool coming from a team in a more rural area. A lot of people think about FRC teams mostly in the big urban and suburban centers around the big tech companies. And that's not you, and that's not you, Matilla, the partner team you mentioned. Can you talk a little bit about your experience as a more rural team and how it led you to have this impact?
So our small town, you can't just run to Home Depot and get parts when you need them. We have to wait a few days for them to come in through Amazon, or we have to make them ourselves. It's not a lot of things are available to us, so we have to make do with what we have. And that can be our biggest struggle, but I think it's also one of our biggest strengths. Even when it comes to people, we have to step up. Like, somebody could walk in and be like, well, I'm not anything super important, I'm not super smart, and then they walk in and they're in charge of something in robotics. And having those opportunities to be a leader that they wouldn't have had otherwise.
Wow, that's really great, and we're so excited for you. We're so proud of you and what you're doing going on forward, and we really appreciate you being here with us today. Thanks for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Let's hear it from another one of First Washington's alums from Wapato, Carlos Trejo.
Hello, I'm Carlos Trejo. I'm a First Washington alumni from the FRC Team 2926 RoboSparks, located in Wapato, Washington. I came to share why I chose First. Growing up, I was always playing soccer, from kicking the ball around with my siblings to playing club ball. When I reached high school, I was still playing soccer, and I even dreamed of the possibility of playing at a collegiate level. But like many students, I was barely getting the ropes of being a freshman, and I decided to give clubs a try. This is when I stumbled across my high school's robotics team. I decided to try it out. I had nothing to lose. I had no experience whatsoever, but I was immediately greeted with open arms. Slowly but surely, I began to learn the names of tools and how to use the various machines around the shop. What I didn't know at the time was that our competitions were at the same time as my high school soccer season. And at this time, soccer was my first priority. It was a sport that I loved to play, but in the back of my head, I still thought about robotics and the bonds that I created during the building period. Before I knew it, it was time for our first competition. What I didn't realize at the time was that soccer trials were at the same time. I was put up with a hard choice, but I ultimately decided I couldn't let my FRC team down. And all that I can say was that was one of the best decisions of my life. The atmosphere of the competitions and being around individuals that worked equally as hard to complete a robot made me love it. I still remember walking into a pit for the first time and being mesmerized before being yelled at to put my safety glasses on. This was a turning point for myself. I knew that I wanted to be 100% committed to my team, even if it meant to stop playing soccer. I knew that my experience with First could lead to better opportunities and even careers in the future, something that soccer couldn't do for me. The impact that First has had on Wapato is tremendous. Through exposure to STEM-related fields and opportunities, it has allowed students to reach outside of the comfort zones and possibly have enlightenment moments like myself. First is truly a building block. Without First, I wouldn't be where I am today, a first-generation student pursuing his dreams in engineering at the University of Washington. Thank you.
The Royal School District is 40 miles wide, so we bring students in from quite a ways away.
My husband and I grew up in suburban schools, which had a lot of different extracurricular activities that were brainy in nature versus sports. So moving here, we've really enjoyed this community, but we have seen initially it was lacking in some of those programs.
We saw this as an excellent opportunity for us to provide education in a way that would tie in with STEM. Through the First Washington program, they develop a wide variety of skills that could help them be successful in a number of jobs.
It really doesn't take a lot to be able to get the kids going with the coding, and they really blossom under programs like First Lego League.
One of our students, I remember we were just walking out after practice one day, and he goes, "Mr. Copenhaver, this is the first time I've ever been on a team," which really stuck out to me because in my experience, you just assume that at some point they've been part of a team. And the fact that they consider, robotics a team and they get that team atmosphere and camaraderie, I think is a huge deal.
When robotics came, I felt like I was finally in a team. Like last year, I was really quiet. And then when I got to know the team, I started talking more. And this year, I felt really confident in talking. And that actually changed my life a lot.
Well, it was pretty exciting because this year it was about space. We were also able to talk to a astronaut, Susan Helms. We got to talk to her and ask her questions of how she felt.
For Into Orbit, they had to come up with an innovative solution to a problem that astronauts face during long-term space exploration.
So our problem was mental health, of how if you stay in space for too long, you could go mad.
So their idea was to come up with a system where astronauts got care packages and they'd have to solve a riddle and kind of do these mental stimulations to open their care package from their loved ones.
So we have some kids that mainly focus on the programming and other kids that mainly focus on problem and solution, but they all end up helping each other out and encouraging each other. And it's interesting too to see which kids kind of were the dormant leaders, they didn't realize that about themselves.
So there was 3 teammates that were shy. They really didn't know what to do all the time, so me and the co-captain had to go help them and try to figure out what to do, and now they're less shy.
A lot of kids are didn't know how to code at first, but when their captains are teaching them, they're like, "Nah, I get it."
I kind of tried to have everybody test everything out. So have some people work on the programming and sometimes they would say "Oh, it's kind of too hard. I don't really fit in this category anymore." I would encourage them "I'll be right here along with you. We can do this together."
I'd say without it, a lot of these kids would never know there's anything outside of the small towns we live in. So without this outreach and, teaching them about careers and all these opportunities they have, they would just maybe never know about it.
When we talk about our mission and wanting our kids to receive an excellent education for all, we really mean all, and this program is perfect for that.
I would really just say thank you to First Washington for providing this framework that then allows us to provide this program to our kids, because it lifts everyone.
I feel proud. Before, we were just kind of a mess sometimes because we would scramble to find something to do, but now I feel proud. Proud of my team, proud of me.
And here, with a special word, is our founder for First Washington, Mr. Kevin Ross.
In just a few short weeks, the president of First Washington, Erin McCallum, will be leaving and setting off on new adventures in life. Trying to list the scope of the legacy that she leaves behind turned out to be a really daunting task. So I'm just going to focus on what I think are 3 of the most amazing things that she accomplished in the last 7 years. She built this enormous network of supporters for First Washington, which really helps us spread the word and raise funds and do all of the amazing things that we're able to do with the students. A lot of that is part of her legacy. She also established very strong ties to the education system by working with OSPI and working with individual school districts to help spread FIRST across the education system. And I think one of the most important and long-lasting things that she accomplished was she took the female participation rate, which was somewhere around 24% when she started 7 years ago, and has increased that to nearly 44%, which is an amazing thing to have as part of your legacy and something that we should all be extremely proud of. I know that I am. So Erin, thank you thank you for your years of dedicated service, and we wish you absolutely the best.
As you've heard throughout today's showcase, outreach, volunteerism, and community is really the three pillars of why FIRST Experience works on so many different levels. Again, it's not the robot. Each of these programs intentionally celebrates the qualities celebrated by these teams.
To that end, we are now honored to present the first LEGO League Champions Award, the first Tech Challenge Inspire Award, and the first Robotics Competition Chairman's Awards. These are the most prestigious awards in FIRST and honor the teams that best represent the models for other teams to emulate. These winning teams truly embody the purpose and goals of the FIRST programs. These awards are presented to the teams judged who have had the most significant, measurable impact on their participants and their local communities. And these teams are able to demonstrate progress towards FIRST's mission of transforming our culture. And now, we are proud to present our 2020 Champions, Inspire, and Chairman's Award winners.
The Uncommon Denominators, Team 2188, Sammamish, Washington. The Lego Superheroes, Team 19605, St. Mary's Catholic School, Spokane, Washington. Our FDC Inspire Award winners, Team Fix-It, Team 3491, from Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. Chairman's Award winners, from Clackamas, A05 Annex, Team 6831, Hood River Valley High School. From Glacier Peak, Iron Patriots, Team 4131, Liberty Senior High School, Renton, Washington. From West Valley, Confidential, Team 4125, Umatilla High School. From Auburn Mountain View, the Whidbey Island Wildcats, Team 2980, Oak Harbor High School. From Wilsonville, the Nerds of the North, Team 568, from 14 different schools in Alaska. From Sundome, the Sodabots, Team 2557, Tacoma School of the Arts. From Bellingham, Team Xbot, Team 488, Franklin High School, Seattle, Washington. From the Oregon State Fair, Lake Monsters, Team 2635, Lake Oswego High School. From Auburn, IRS, the Issaquah Robotics Society, Team 1318, Issaquah High School.
All right, stick around if you would like to watch a few of those Chairman Award videos that'll be played right after we finish up here. What a great afternoon we have had today, and thanks so much for joining us for Change the World. And a shout out to all our presenters today, and thank you to our community for making FIRST programs work.
Congratulations to all of our awardees, and this concludes our official program, but as Darren mentioned, we hope you will stick around and watch videos to see firsthand some of the amazing impact and work those Chairman's Award-winning teams are doing. For all of us at First Washington, thank you so much for joining. Have a great day and stay safe out there.
AO5 is an attitude.
Since our formation in the robotics room of HRVHS, we've been spreading FIRST in STEM wherever we go.
Our Fab Bus travels across Hood River loaded up with all kinds of equipment to enable as many students as possible, starting right at our roots, elementary.
We've equipped the bus with a bunch of 3D printers, an FL game table, a laser cutter, a sticker printer, and we're bringing it to all the elementary schools, and they can come up on the bus and just look at all this cool STEM stuff. Thanksgiving, they cut out stickers of turkeys. For Valentine's Day, they're gonna 3D print hearts. And for Christmas, they laser cut Christmas ornaments out of acrylic. It's just been really cool to give them this experience in the STEM field so early.
We organize and host a hands-on STEM fair every year on the first Friday of June.
So the STEM fair brings the community together because it's the ultimate celebration of FIRST, and we have over 2,000 people annually come and just learn about all different aspects of STEM while also getting to look at some really cool FIRST robotics robots and also FIRST Tech Challenge and FLL.
Since our city is heavily agricultural, we have lots of immigrants who come to work in our fruit orchards. For their children, we bring the Fab Bus to them and introduce them to FIRST.
Migrant Summer School is a 3-week program in the summer that helps get students whose families relocate to work in agriculture to keep them caught up in school and to keep them out of orchards where work is dangerous.
And for our differently abled classmates, we set up our unified program to make sure they have the opportunity to be involved with robotics.
This year, our goal was to integrate as much of the community as possible with FIRST and STEM.
One way we did this was by creating a unified robotics team.
Together, we build these Lego robots, which compete in a SumoBot-style competition.
At the end of the semester, we organized and hosted a competition for all the different unified teams, and we all competed.
It was super special to see all of their expressions and how much energy they had going into their first competition.
And it was lots of fun.
AO5 is dedicated to the survival of STEM and FIRST in our community.
We push to bring STEM to as many people as possible in order for AO5 to annex the world.
So our team has been to over 98 community events in the past 3 years. Those range from elementary school science fairs to larger events such as Red River Days or Highlands Days. We've impacted over 43,000 people at these events, and as a team we've amassed over 6,000 hours at these events, which is really important to us because it doesn't just mean it's a couple hours of us letting kids drive a robot or talking to people about our team. It means that we're spending this time educating people about FIRST and about STEM and how it can impact their lives.
So Unified Robotics is a program that pairs our peers with special needs with members from our team. Their objective is to build this EV3 robot to compete in this sumo-style game.
We have been given the privilege of being the Unified Robotics Ambassadors this year. What that basically means is that it's our job to help spread the message of Unified Robotics.
So this year at Unified Championships, we were actually awarded the Foster Award, the first of its kind. So what this award is for is not just an inclusion within Unified Robotics, but a whole atmosphere of acceptance in a school. Liberty is also a National Unified Banner Champion school, one of only 10 in Washington, and I think that really lays the groundwork and represents who we are as a community and the inclusion and acceptance we represent here at Liberty.
Looking back today, our campaign has actually grown to be a lot bigger than we expected. I believe to date we've reached over 43,000 people, and that's not only in the Renton City area. What started out as something local turned into something region-wide. We've spread so far with our efforts, whether it be starting 84 FLL teams, 8 FTC teams, impacting many more, or whether it be through the community service events we do or the volunteering we do.
Bring STEM to Them is a campaign that we started a couple years ago. It basically is a simple way of describing our main goal as a team to educate and inspire as many people about STEM and about their future as we can. This involves going to local schools, elementary schools, talking to them about robotics. It means all of the FIRST teams that we started from FLL to FTC to junior FLL. And it also means all of the community events that we go to and that we talk to people at.
I think originally one of the main reasons we did the FLL competition was because we wanted to help support our FLL teams even more. We started so many around us, and we wanted to find yet another way we could support them. And there's actually no FL competition locally. A lot of them were like a good 30-45 minutes away. So I think starting an FL competition at our school was really helpful for those teams.
Renewable energy, it's all around us here in Umatilla, infinitely recharging our small town. The cycle we've created with FIRST gives students opportunity and our community power.
Our cycle begins with FLL and FLL Junior. These two programs are a part of the STEAM Academy of Umatilla, an after-school program for over 700 students that provides free snacks and meals and a safe learning environment for students to learn and grow.
FTC. Because of the rise of FIRST in Umatilla, we hosted our own FTC qualifier and FLL pre-qualifier. Through FTC, students begin to learn more about the FIRST world and start to develop important life skills, including gracious professionalism. FTC students from previous years have joined Confidential and are now helping the next generation of FIRST students to continue the cycle.
FRC. Confidential is the core, providing help and resources for every stage. 81% of our members will become the first in their family to attend college, while 80% of our senior members plan on entering a STEAM field after they graduate. 12 of our members work at the STEAM Academy, and 88% have participated in FIRST in previous years. With 496 college credits already earned by our team, we're charging up for the future.
Alumni. Alumni represent what Confidential creates for a better tomorrow. Since 2017, every senior member of the team has graduated, with over 90% enrolling in college. 63% move on to a STEAM field, and 56% return to volunteer in FIRST. Our alumni visit during kickoff, and a few have even returned to Umatilla as teachers and mentors, recharging the next generation.
The community. Our cycle not only impacts students, but those around us as well. We created Service Saturdays, a day each month dedicated to helping those who need us within our community. Over the past 3 years, we've given over thousands of service hours to help and show our thanks. We wouldn't be Confidential without our community, which is why we name our robot after one of our community members each year.
We've continued to branch out and find new resources to help include others in our sustainable cycle. With 4980 and our new partner, 2557, we've continued our mission with the Faces of Engineering campaign to empower and advocate for minorities in STEM. We also branch out by starting teams like 6442, telling others our story with a documentary about our team by Blue Chalk Media, and presenting to the Oregon School Board Association and others to encourage people to start teams and bring FIRST into their lives.
Before Confidential, little was expected from our poor rural town. Bringing FIRST into our community has charged us for the better. Now students believe success is normal, no matter their background. With our cycle and an infinite supply of support and effort, we know we can rise to the challenge and reach for the stars, because we are
I am so impressed with the work they do to promote science and technology with younger students in our district and in our community. They have done a great job reaching out to elementary schools to promote Lego League, and that has led to more kids being involved with robotics in junior high and high school.
You know, as someone that has a lot of visitors in the state capitol, I can tell you without hesitation that when the robotics team comes down from Oak Harbor, it is one of the highlights of my year. Their enthusiasm, their collaborative work, their ability to encourage and excite the community about robotics, about all things STEM, about finding the solutions to the next generation's problems and this generation's problems. It's really exciting.
Some of the projects that I think about that have really excited our community, one was the tiny homes for the homeless. There's this incredible local impact and this incredible global impact that the Wildcat Robotics team is having. But then if we look locally here in our school district, I think what our team has done is elevated the value and the impact of STEM for our students to a level that we've just never seen before. And the biggest way that they've done that is by helping to establish robotics teams at almost every one of our schools. Recently, Oak Harbor Public Schools was recognized by the U.S. Department of Education as a National Green Ribbon District, one of only 14 districts in America to receive that recognition. And I can tell you that wouldn't have been possible without the support of our Wildcat Robotics team. Just recently, they got back from Costa Rica where they were helping to establish a robotics team in a community where that just wouldn't have been possible without their support.
Tengo un muchacho en 10º grado que también tiene interés, entonces quiero conocer un poco para entender cuando estén hablando de todo esto. Y entonces yo también tener conocimiento y muchas gracias por estar aquí.
Alaska is known as the last frontier, a wilderness full of potential, pushing the boundaries of what we know. Just like Nerds of the North do.
As the only FRC team in the state, we believe that everyone should have access to robotics.
No matter your age, gender,
or location.
Using online video conferencing, our members are spread over an area of over 450,000 miles.
we know the power of communities who work together.
So we constantly work to give back.
Whether that be teaching STEM education through summer camps or STEM day events.
We promote FIRST programs by volunteering at and organizing FLL and FTC events.
And we help provide resources to coaches and people interested in starting teams.
We also work to encourage literacy and STEM education in Alaska's youth.
Over the past 3 years, we have written a series of children's books. Following the main character, Riley Robot, our books teach children science, math, and social lessons. We have partnered with other FIRST teams to translate these books into Spanish and Alaska Native languages, including Yupik, Chupik, and Tlingit.
In addition to promoting literacy, we are constantly working to serve as good role models for the next generation of engineers.
Showing Grace's professionalism,
cooperation,
and teamwork.
We're ready to keep braving this bold frontier.
To keep building.
To keep connecting.
And to keep growing.
North to the future.
Are you out of steam? Need more community involvement? Perhaps you're drawn to a career in science, technology, engineering, art, or math, but you don't know where to start. If you're suffering from these symptoms, you may have STEAM deficiency. The Sodabots, First Robotics Team 2557, has been one of the leading cures for STEAM deficiency on the market for the past 13 years.
Hey Sodabots! Can I get an oh yep?
Oh yeah! Kid tested and mentor approved, this prescription is designed to provide opportunities in STEAM education.
I'd always been into robotics since I was a kid. We have alumni who come in and help, and they attribute a lot of their successes to robotics and Sodabots. We are building robotics in agriculture now, and that is because of my involvement with the Sodabots.
People of all ages who have received visits from the Sodabots have reported elevated levels of happiness and curiosity, as well as a desire to join FIRST.
I'm Letitia. I am a Sodabots alumni and now work for the Children's Museum of Tacoma. It was really cool to see that the Sodabots make such an impact on the children. All they want to do is build robots out of whatever materials that we have, like build them out of paper, and anything's a robot if you say so.
In the past 5 years alone, this treatment has benefited tens of thousands of people. The Sodabots also share the message of FIRST with people at their local children's hospital, family shelter, farmers markets, children's museum, and in classrooms. Sodabots! Since 2016, the team has mentored 5 FTC and 2 FRC teams. To support these teams and others across the Pacific Northwest, the Sodabots and 360 The Revolution co-founded the TRA, Tacoma Robotics Alliance, providing access to a full practice field every year. The Sodabots created the Girls First initiative by generating a survey that collects data on how many girls are on FIRST teams in the Pacific Northwest. For the past 4 years, they've collected and shared this data to inspire more female participation in FIRST. In an effort to provide a network of STEAM experts for teams seeking more information, the Sodabots host an annual FRC workshop with presentations given by students and mentors alike.
Sodabots is the cure.
Side effects of Sodabots interaction may include, but are not limited to, sudden urge to volunteer, lost voice from excessive cheering, abrupt shouts of "Oh, yeah!", interest in STEAM careers, and a love for all things neon yellow. If you feel like STEAM is missing from your life, visit sodabots.com to get your prescription today.
What is improvement? 17 years, 204 months, 6,209 days, 149,019 hours, 8,941,130 minutes. Each day we strive to be the best. We learn to make new connections, gain more knowledge in the modern world, and understand the people around us in a different light. Our team strives to create a one-on-one basis with incoming generations of robotics kids, allowing us to create better bonds and connections with those around us. For the past 11 years, we have been able to go to one of the largest street fairs in Washington, Salmon Days, attracting more than 180,000 people. Each year, our booth has gotten more and more recognition and now is even on the official map for the festival. This year, we were able to accommodate for all our robotics teams, consisting of 3 FRC, 5 FTC, and 2 FLL teams. We are now able to integrate incoming generations, such as the 11 FLL teams we now mentor. This year, we were able to put in 931 hours of FLL outreach, with 434 hours of planning.
Through mentoring at FLL, I've been able to show to students how interesting and innovative STEM fields can be. And because of this, a lot of them are more interested in majoring in STEM fields in the future.
Not only have we gained exposure through our community, we have also strengthened our relationships.
Having the military at FIRST events is a great way to showcase less typical STEM opportunities to students. And given that FIRST Robotics is a great place to make connections and learn about new opportunities for STEM, the military makes a great partner.
Improvement isn't saying it's good enough, because in reality, we as humans can always advance and become more skilled. There are always going to be aspects in our life that need fixing. Improvement. The act at which something enhances value or excellence. Improvement.
The Lake Monsters, inspired by 2 team members who experienced significant medical conditions and lengthy hospital stays, decided to reach out to local children's hospitals to form the Power Outreach Project, The goal was to reach an underserved population by providing STEM education, relief, and normalcy during an extremely difficult time in their life. In the last 2 years, Lake Monsters has distributed 1,050 make-and-take robots and 4 EV3s for children at Dornbecker Children's Hospital, Sacred Heart Hospital, Salem Hospital, and 3 Ronald McDonald houses in the Portland metro area.
For kids in a hospital, a lot of their control is taken away, so this gives them that power and that control in an environment too, that now they're kind of the experts where other people aren't, so it gives them that empowerment and that feeling of accomplishment.
Lake Monsters has always been vested in providing services to underserved populations, which includes providing 90% of the camp counselors for Plaza Encuentra, a Lego robotics camp for children of migrant workers, and doing a demonstration at Camp Yakety Yak, a camp for kids experiencing disabilities. Additionally, this year we mentored an all-girls Spanish immersion FLL and FLL junior team, and found to our delight that our student leaders are excellent mentors. Lake Monsters programming leads have led a 5-week CAD training class and week-long Java training class for both FRC and FTC members, creating inclusive STEM education programs. Lake Monsters continues to pursue other opportunities to provide STEM education and community events such as science fairs, homecoming parades, and school open houses.
Be impactful and make a difference.
And join the First Alliance.
Anyone can be a hero with a little help from their friends.